Alright, y'all. Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah. So, as usual, I think I might have a little bit of trolling going on my channel already. And by already, I mean I'm only at 28 subs. Ain't making much of an impact as far as the actual number of people I'm reaching. But because it will continue to grow slowly, and I will continue to make videos even if it's slowly, this kind of thing will tend to happen. It's either that or it's a genuine individual who's being sincere and who has been brainwashed to one extreme or the other. We're going to talk about the age-old argument of meat or no meat. So these people that take the extreme of no animal products whatsoever, and that using any animal product is animal abuse, which is totally in error. Taking milk from a cow helps the cow, first of all. Second of all, Jah says himself in the scriptures, milk and honey, and explains that the curds and cheeses and products you can make from milk are clean and good for you. Curds and whey, butter, okay? Honey is an animal product, okay, etc. So, as far as the scripture is concerned, I want to finish what I was saying. You could be a sincere person that's, being brainwashed into this ultimate veganism, and they condemn anybody who uses animal products. This is supposed to be a brother Rasta, quote unquote, and he's automatically condemning me because I use animal products, and because I've discussed in my channels, all of them, including this one, that the dividing of the brethren over food and drink is retarded. You eat meat, you don't eat meat. I really just don't think that's a reason to divide the body of Messiah. There is no commandment that is clearly outlined in the scriptures. If we're real Rastas, we go off of Haile Selassie's teachings. And Haile Selassie's teachings are the Bible. And the Bible teaches nothing against, in a specific, direct way, in any way that's black and white. There is nothing that encourages you to be a vegan or vegetarian 100% of the time, all the time. There are certain fasts, there are certain circumstances in which you would avoid meat. Meat sacrificed to idols, the blood hasn't been drained, the animal was strangled or tortured. You don't eat that meat. It's against Jah's law. You're not supposed to do that to animals. Okay? When you slaughter a cow, it's pretty much instant, okay? Like, it doesn't, there's multiple ways to do it, but the way I would prefer is a bolt gun to the head, instant death, right? And then the draining of the blood, okay? So, because a farmer does that, he is evidently an evil person, right? No, we've been harvesting cattle for 6,000 years, bare minimum, okay? So, this age-old argument has been used to divide the brethren for centuries, and it continues to do so. All right? And it's funny because I take the middle road perspective, and the fact that you gotta realize everybody's genealogy and phenotype expression is different than the next's. So you cannot say one diet fits all for everybody. Some people might do a little better on a more vegetarian diet, and then they eat fish or chicken or something every once in a while, or even beef every once in a while, but they're mostly vegetarian. They do good on that. Some people do better, the inverse of that. A lot more meat, still plenty of vegetables and fruit. Everybody's different. So you cannot mandate a fucking diet for me. It's called diet for a reason. I don't need any diet. I eat all the things Jah says is clean. That's my program. So it would say GMOs, they're not clean. Poisonously raised, abused cattle, that's not clean. See what I'm saying? So in the world that follows the Most High, you would have that. You would have untortured cattle to eat. Now, and then we get the other part of this argument, which is, in the garden we were vegetarians. And it's like, where does it say that, first of all? Show me where it says that. And I can understand where you would insinuate that you were in the garden. meatless. It makes sense. I mean, based on what the story is, but it doesn't say it. But let's assume that it's correct and there was no meat eating in the garden, which may very well be true based on the evidence, or just the connotation of the story. We're going to get to these comments here in a second, by the way. But, so, we're vegetarians in the garden. You know, surely we probably drank some milk from a cow. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we were vegans in there. All we ate was plants. I don't know. I ain't been there. You ain't either. So that's the other thing. But when they sinned in the garden, which we're not going to get into the real meaning of what actually happened between Satan, Adam, and Eve in that tree, so-called tree, because that's another video. But when they sinned, right, and they partook of what they were not supposed to partake of, what did Jah do to cover their shame? Does any of y'all know the answer? Does the person inundating every video, so I mean, it's like 6 or 7 videos, this dude has just suddenly showed up and put comments about animal abuse, and then I'm an animal abuser, and I'm just a rotten person because I eat meat and drink milk. What happened with Adam and Eve? Adama and Hava, what happened with them? Well, lambskins were given them for clothing, typifying and pointing to Yahshua Messiah, of course, because he is the lamb skin we are wearing to cover our shame. Okay, so what did it take to get those lamb skins? The slaughter of 2 lambs, or maybe 1 lamb was able to cover, you know, both Adam and Eve, right? But it was the slaughter of an animal. So we're kicked out of the garden. We're not back in the garden. And our biology, based on that alone, might very well need meat. As far as all mankind might need meat from time to time, if it's minimal, at least from time to time. Because you want to pretend like that won't affect your biological cellular needs. And that's presuming that y'all are correct, that we were vegans or vegetarians in the garden. And then lambskins were given us to cover our shame. And then let's go forward a little bit to prove that eating meat is clean and that it's not deadas and that it's not shameful. We go forward into the scripture all the way through. You see where animal agriculture is promoted, utilized, is the actual part of the wealth and well-being of the children of Yasharal and any other nation, whether you have flocks, right, to feed your people, okay, and to sell and trade. And then you have offerings by the prophets like Elijah of a whole cow to Jah, and he consumes it with a consuming fire, and it is a sweet savor unto him. And then the times where the angels that came to visit Abraham sat down with them to eat, and there was meat in the food with bread, and I'm sure that they had fresh vegetables and fruits as well, or dried, or whatever the season may be. It could have been dried fruits and vegetables or whatever, preserved in some way, depending on the season. That's the other thing to keep in mind. You have to preserve certain things, certain ways. And a lot of these vegetables help preserve meats, like any vegetable with citric acid in it or fruit. So they could also eat meat year-round, preserving it certain ways. So, and then, you know, people will point to things like the book of Daniel, where Daniel abstains from meat. Well, the connotation there is that he didn't want to eat the meat from the king of Babylon, which was sacrificed to Baal and whatever else, and not probably treated correctly, probably tortured for Baal. Daniel wasn't trying to be a vegetarian just suddenly in captivity because he believed that eating animals were wrong. He had previously eaten animals. It never said he was a vegetarian his entire life. Okay? He was keeping the law of Yahweh. And he looked healthier because he kept the law of Yahweh than the men who were given the full table of the king's foods. Do you not get that it's the scripture that we base our ideas culturally, food-wise, everything off of? If you are a Rasta, you better start reading the scripture and stop following these extreme movements. So the brother here, I'm talking to you right now. You realize that Bill Gates, Disney, and every other Illuminati, Freemason style system, or part of that system, an institution, corporation, whatever, is the ones pushing a mandatory veganism on the whole world. By law, they want that. They want to just make it to where common men and women like me can't raise cows and chickens and ducks. So you're telling me the same thing. And so I find that to be peculiar. You want me to do the same thing Bill Gates wants me to do. It's just maybe you don't care about the Impossible Burger, and you would say that I should not eat the Impossible Burger, hopefully, because it's poison. But still, it's the same message: no meat. Well, and then we can go and do some things I dug up before when I was studying cults in California, and when my fake actor Illuminati wife, ex-wife, and I were in California, and we were, well, supposedly she was scared. She might have just been acting, but I was scared out of my mind, and I had to find out information to protect myself against human trafficking and cults in California. And it happens to be that several sheriffs had come together and made the conclusion that the first thing a cult does to brainwash you is take away your meat and your dairy fat. Why is that? Why is that? Why is it the number one practice of a cult to make you a vegetarian? Before we get into why that is, I'm going to explain something else. Rastas who are in this brainwashed vegan dialectic, which is what it is. It's an extreme to the left or to the right, and either way is wickedness, because it is deception. It's a dialectic. Okay? And veganism is an extreme, right? Especially some of these. Haile Selassie said that it is good to make scant use of meat. He didn't say, do not eat meat. He didn't say, do not insert any animal product into your mouth ever. No milk, no butter, nothing. He didn't say that. He said, you better believe Haile Selassie ate meat on Passover, and probably regularly when he needed it. When he listened to his body, his body says, time to eat some meat. He said it's good to make scant use of it. Why? Because it's a living animal. It provides an abundance of food, and it is the most nutritious. Okay? People think they get so much minerals from their vegetables, and that's true. I mean, vegetables are great. I love vegetables. I want them in my meals. Same with fruits and everything. But what do you think a cow eats if it's raised the old world righteous organic way? Grass. And it has 4 stomachs to break down and pull the minerals that come directly from the soil into the grass, out of that grass and into their system. And then you eat the steak. It's like instantly bioavailable nutrition. So some plants you have to prepare to get that. Some plants you can't absorb the nutrients like vitamin K, B, and whatever without a saturated fat that has cholesterol. Okay, so a cult takes away So I just wanted to clear that up. That Haile Selassie never said to be a vegan or a vegetarian. He said it is good to make scant use of meat. So quit twisting His Majesty's words up. He ate the Passover lamb. He ate meat. He wasn't a vegetarian. Okay. So, the reason cults take away the meat and the dairy fat first is because your brain, your balls, and your ovaries. So we got everything from the ability to make babies to how your brain works. Okay. Fertility and brain power. But your balls, your ovaries, and your brain are 70% plus saturated fat and cholesterol, and the precursors and building blocks that your balls, ovaries, and brain need to make everything from neurotransmitters to testosterone to estrogen to all the above luteinizing hormone is based off of saturated fat cholesterol from animal products. Okay, I'm not saying there's not any plant alternatives. I'm saying that in the earth and creation's natural state, it is the way it's supposed to be. Okay, we are not in the garden. So if you want to make yourself infertile and you want your brain to get foggy to where you can be highly suggestible without even having to be dosed with LSD, you just take your meat away and your dairy fat, and then you will be highly suggestible, which means you're highly brainwashable. Okay, there is no scripture to validate that veganism and vegetarianism is mandatory by Jah himself. There is no statement from Haile Selassie that suggests that absolute veganism and vegetarianism is what we should be doing. There is no statement from Christ himself. He fed fish to 5,000 people. Catch me outside. How about that? Okay. And that's where we get down to the differences between so-called Rastas and real Rastas. So-called Rastas want to live in a gaslighting fantasy world where they pretend like the Bible has no part in the whole paradigm of Rasta, when that is the main focal point. And big ups to Rastafari Sabbatical, also known as Rastafari Jews, also known as Rastafari Groundation, also known as Line of Judah Society, Wyndham Yadin, for always making that very clear to everybody that Rasta is Semitic, Judeo-Christian in origin and reality. Okay? It revolves around the scriptures, the prophecies in it, and the people called the children of Yasharah, also known as the children of Israel. Okay? So, that's what Rasta is. There is plenty of evidence on all my channels to show that that's absolute fact. So these other so-called Rastas that want to use the locks, use the ganja, use the name, but don't want to walk it out and don't agree with the actual reality about what Rasta is, why don't you call yourself something else? Vegan soldier or something, or whatever. We'll show you guys what his name is here in a minute. But much love to the brother if he's sincere and genuine and isn't just trying to provoke some sort of drama about meat eating and not meat eating. So all the Rastas who are thinking about subbing to me say, oh, he eats meat, he can't be right. Well, even Rastafari Sabbatical has laid the foundation on that. These people calling you deadas because you eat meat or drink milk, especially if you're drinking it and eating it, if it's like organic, grass-fed, and clean, they still will say it, that you are a deadas because you eat meat, and they'll denounce friendship with you too, even sometimes, because you eat meat. That is a polarity of extremism that is brought on by the New World Order Hegelian dialectic system in operation, period. So I've dealt with this kind of vegan harassment and vegan arguments for quite some time on my channels, and that's why I'm so calm about it, because I'm just like, this is the same old fucking shit. Y'all want to literally divide people over whether they choose to eat something or not. I mean, it's just so extreme. I think it would be more wise to bind that up with GMOs. Like, you know, I don't want to be friends with people who are getting genetically modified through their food. You know, that would be more reasonable because that's more scary. But just because somebody eats meat, this GMO corn is scarier than that. See what I'm saying? So let's get into the comments and why I brought this whole thing up. I'm keeping record of things like this. So this is the first comment I saw. I didn't realize this dude had been commenting on all my, maybe not all of them, but several videos about animals. And so he says, what are your thoughts on what is happening? Look at his name, by the way, Esoteric Compassionist. Now, just a few minutes ago, y'all, literally, I hope I had a picture of it or something. I might not. But just a minute ago, he just changed his name. Like, while I've been talking to you. I don't know if it showed it on the screen or if he had done it right before I hit record. But it did say Esoteric C3. Like, see, there's CC together right there, y'all. But it did say C3 Compassionist. I'm not joking, y'all. I wish I had caught that real quick with a picture or something so I could prove it, but he changed his name. So, first of all, there's double C's right there, 33. Second of all, it had a 3 and he took the 3 out. It was in the middle of that name. That's peculiar, don't you think? Not making any accusation, I'm just saying that that's peculiar. Alright? So, what are your thoughts on what is happening to other innocent, voiceless, self-aware beings, quote-unquote animals? Do you think that maybe treating animals different could change the world we live in today? Now, what's interesting is, you gotta keep in mind, this is the first one I saw. So, this seemed like a pretty reasonable thing to say, as far as it doesn't seem like some sort of trolling attack or anything like that. But the other comments previously to this one on other videos of mine, I go to look at them after I saw this, and they're all throwing accusations that I'm basically a deadass for eating meat, you know. So just keep that in mind. This comment seems to be nice, like based on what I'm saying in this video, like he's gonna say something nice. I don't fucking know. It's just weird. So no offense to you, but you gotta understand, I've been through a lot of crazy censorship and a lot of crazy trolling and a lot of crazy circumstances in the last 7 years because I've been on YouTube. And I don't trust, I don't just trust the sincerity of things. So, but I'm not making any accusations. So here's what I said. Hopefully it's actually there. I got it copied. So if it isn't, if they did censor it, then I'll be able to show it to you. If this thing actually loads up, for crying out loud. Oh, for goodness sakes, quit that there. Here we go. Alright. Yeah, he's already replied and I didn't even notice that. I said, the ways we treat every living creature and mankind is a reflection of the inside and a reflection of the rotten culture we have allowed to come to be currently. I do not agree with the mistreatment of animals, but I am not a vegan nor a vegetarian. But I do believe it should be law to raise the animals organically, old world, and 100% humanely. But I believe that mankind and how we treat mankind is of more immediate importance than quote-unquote save the animals, save the world sort of mindset. Even Von Benjamin says that in one of his songs, paraphrase, saving the animals, but what about humanity? Mankind is the crown of creation. I think that if we make goodness and righteousness our priority, educate and help all, poor, fatherless, and widow, and we focus on true justice, true charity, then the mistreatment of animals will resolve itself. That if we are turned toward the heart of Jah, that mankind would inherently stop the mistreatment of animals and arrest those who do. But there are highly important issues, such as eugenics, that need to be outlawed first. YouTube did not notify me of your comment. It may get censored as well. And then he says, how do you humanely kill someone that doesn't want to die? Look up carnivore, omnivore, frugivore chart online. Well, show me an example of the fact that a cow doesn't want to die. Like, what about, show me like a letter where the cow writes a letter consciously and says, I don't consent to this whole farming thing. You know what I'm saying? There's that. And it's like, here I am saying, you're saying an absolute. There should be no animal agriculture in the whole world, and all the cows should be let off the farm and just roam around, right? So we have shit everywhere. I mean, what do you people want? Like, you want us to concede that animal agriculture should be illegal, which is what the New World Order wants? Outright in your face. World Economic Forum, New World Order boys, all saying, Disney and all these motherfuckers, all saying, veganism, eating animals is evil. That's bullshit. Show me in the Bible. I am Rastafari. If you are Rasta, show me in the Bible. Or veganism is mandatory. Okay? So, the other thing is, you're going to say this about cows, right? But what about war? That Rockefeller, Rothschild, Illuminati boys fund, which also pushes your veganism for you. The Illuminati boys fund both sides of every war. And you're talking about how they treat cows while we got children being killed. It's like, where's your moral, clock at? Your moral measurer. I don't want cows to be mistreated. I don't want dogs to be mistreated. I don't want cats to be mistreated. I don't want any animal to be mistreated. But, how far do you take that over the importance of people? And how far do you take it to where you don't look like a hypocrite? Have you ever stepped on a fucking worm on accident? Have you ever stepped on a beetle? Have you ever swatted at a fly? Do you believe that because you killed a fly that was bothering you, you have like a karmic negative before the eyes of the Creator? Because the Lord Himself calls these things pestilence. I'm not talking about honeybees. I'm talking about flies. I'm pretty sure that fly didn't want to be killed. Or how about if you're growing a crop, since you're so vegan, hopefully you grow your own crops so you're not eating vegetables from the store. Right? If you're so vegan, have you ever tried to save your crop from a pest infestation? No matter how big or small the pest was, whether it's caterpillars or aphids or whatever. Or how about your ganja even? You never sprayed your fucking crop with some organic pesticide that's made out of essential oils so it kills the pests? I'm pretty sure they didn't want to die. I'm pretty sure everything that lives wants to live. Okay? But, what kind of world are you trying to live in? You want your pests to take over your crops. Right? You want... So, let's say we did preventative pest management in crops. That's organic. When I talk about doing this, I mean it organically. I don't mean pesticide. I mean organic pesticide, okay, that you make from scratch, okay? So, let's talk about preventative pest management. So, in that sense, you're preventing them from having life. Is that go along with your worldview, or is that bad too? Because what we got here is people preventing human life, mankind life. And you're worried about bumblebees and fucking cows. And they don't write books. They don't explain the truth that has been hidden. Cows can't do that. They're a cow. See what I'm saying? And you're putting their importance above men and women who are made in the image of the Most High Jah. Was a cow made in the image of the Most High Jah? No, in fact, the New World Order Illuminati boys like to demean mankind by referring to you as their cattle. And that's why you got cattle numbers. That's why you got a social security number. It's your cattle number. That's why you get your vaccine, because that's of cow, which is your vaccine. Because you're a cow. Okay? To the beast system. So you're telling me that I'm a rotten person because I eat meat. Well, you must be in one of those cults then, because like I explained earlier in the video, cults that are bad cults, not just okay cults, bad cults that do bad things. Take away your meat and your dairy first so your brain stops fucking working. It sounds like you need to eat a steak so your brain starts working. Why don't you go check out Wyndham Yadin too and get some foundational teachings taken care of if you're going to call yourself and associate yourself with Haile Selassie and Rastafari. Because you got a little image of Haile Selassie right here. Let's pull this guy up, y'all. And I'll show you the other comments where he's just badgering me and talking straight shit because I eat meat. Okay. So, that's a video where I talk about growing, universally, like clean. Like, it's okay to use animal products in agriculture. Fish bone meal, so on, and how you shouldn't be dividing the body of Christ over food and drink. And he says, you fell for the greatest trick ever played out in humanity, doing so what you're contributing to. And it's going to talk about, animal agriculture and eating meat and blah, blah. Oops, never mind. You're obviously an animal abuser, hypocrite. See what I'm saying, guys? What's your thoughts on enslaving innocent, aware, sentient beings for so-called food? Enslaving? If you ever seen a farm in your fucking life, you would not know. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. Go to a farm that raises the cattle organic and grass-fed and tell me that cow's a slave. He's the happiest son of a gun around, bruh. You got some shit backwards, bro. We're not talking about big ag, poisonous, roboticized agriculture here. We're talking about a family having a cow. It is obvious, because I'm Rasta, that I'm against big, poisonous agriculture and the cows sitting in a stall all day. That's not even good beef anyway. See what I'm saying? That should be outlawed. And that part of the discussion is never brought up. It's always just meat is bad. And if you have cows, they're slaves. They're not slaves. In fact, I coddle to the cattle when you're a farmer. See what I'm saying? If you're an organic cattle farmer, grass-fed, clean as can be, full of integrity operation, that cows are not strangled to death. The milk cows are not given hormones to make more milk. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. You are catering to them cows. Do you understand? Okay. It is not your slave. It doesn't do what you want it to. See what I'm saying? Except for at the end of its life and when it's milking time. When it's harvest time for milk or for meat. It's the only time it does what you want it to. We're talking about 3, 4, 5, 600,000 plus acre fields where cows can just run around and do whatever they want. Go down on the pond and the drinking hole, wallow around and go stand in the shade. They got woods, they got hills, they got grass for fucking miles. And in the winter when there ain't no grass, the good old organic farmer takes care of them with some oat straw and some alfalfa. And I get pettings and lovings from the family members that like the cows and they're friends with them. And they love those cows. It ain't no slave. Well, so when we go back to the Bible too, the Passover, the children of Yasharal were commanded to pick a lamb and it would stay with them for a time so that they would appreciate and love it and realize that it had to be sacrificed for their deliverance. And what happened with Adam and Eve? The lambskins So to take away and make it look like eating meat, it's in and of itself is sin. Is like stepping on the Messiah and pissing on his grave that he rose out of. See what I'm saying? That he, on the third day, rose again. It's to diminish the sacrifice that we needed after Adam and Eve messed up. It's to diminish the Son of Man. In this time, until we go back to the garden, we still need meat biologically, cellularly. Some more than others, some less than others. Okay? Some people have certain allergies. They might not be able to have eggs, or they might not be able to have milk, or they might not be able to have wheat, or tomatoes, or whatever. But I believe all those allergies can be healed, and that everything Jah says is clean to eat is clean to eat. And everything he says is unclean to eat is unclean to eat. So food is becoming a huge deal. And the New World Order is planned and always has been, but it's becoming more evident in the public persona and what people on the average consider and think about. Because they're trying to get us to eat bugs, they're trying to get us to be vegan, they're trying to tell us that GMOs are okay. So, no offense to this brother, but I just destroyed your argument and your slander of me. I'm an animal abuser. Hypocrite, I guess. I'm an animal abuser because I ate a steak, so I go around whipping dogs for no reason, right? I take care of ducks here where I at every morning. Feed them. And I don't harvest anything from them. I just take care of ducks for no reason, for no gain. They lay eggs everywhere, but I ain't been eating their eggs lately. And it ain't a main source of food for me. I'm just taking care of these ducks. So I'm an animal abuser, right? Because I feed ducks every morning. For no gain. See what I'm saying? It's crazy. When I get some chickens, I'm going to eat their eggs. Okay. I don't like duck eggs as much. So, I think with all the points I laid out, I could go into a lot of other things, especially scripturally, about this topic. But I feel like I really just got it settled with what I did. Okay, so. Oh, see, there you go, guys. Maybe he didn't change his name. It's like a. Look at that, y'all. Am I blind here? I didn't even talk about this because I didn't notice it popped up. There it is, y'all. 3 with the Haile Selassie image. That would be. Now, I'm trying to make an accusation like I'm absolutely correct, but to be honest, let me just be vulnerably honest. I get the impression that that's a 33 agent, Illuminati, payroll, fake son of a gun. Like, I mean, I just don't. I mean, Rastafari, true Rastafari in a biblical sense. I mean, we're not afraid to examine esotericism and be ready to defend our scriptural stance against such things. But we don't, in general, just associate with the term esoteric, which really just means hidden. But because it has a connotation connected to New Age stuff. So it's not our first word of choice. And then we certainly just don't go around putting 33s on our shit. See what I'm saying? So, I don't know who you are. But if you think that you control me into whatever it is you think you control me into, or whatever, control, think you can control me by accusing me of being a deaders or whatever, because I eat meat. It's just not. I'm not really upset. It's just funny. Big old 33 right there. Isn't that so? I mean, gosh, guys. Are you watching me, like, push my channel? Okay? You see this shit right here. It's ridiculous. No accusation made, but it really seems like that's what this is. 33. Okay. There's a CC in the middle too. Interesting. So I guess I'll leave it at that. There's nothing really else that I got to say about it. So why are you even watching my videos if you hate people who eat meat so much? Like, well, just go somewhere else. Like, if you're actually not a 33 agent, which you really have a way of showing yourself if you're not. It's almost like you're bragging about it. It's almost just like, hey, he knows, so let's just rub it in his face. So we can make him look crazy because he's going to make a big deal out of the 33. And it's like, y'all, don't make me look crazy. You make me look sane. Because these people out here know what the 33 means. They know what it is. So have it your way, Burger King. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're that hardcore of a vegan and you ain't got a garden, psh, I mean, just go shit yourself already. You're such a fraud. Sorry, guys. It's just ridiculous. I've had to deal with this argument. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to something like that, if you can't look to me as a genuine authority on all things Rastafari, then go look to Lion of Judah Society, Wyndham Yadin, Rastafari Sabbatical, Rastafari Jews, Rastafari Groundation, okay, Ethiopian World Federation, all them boys, because they'll tell you, okay, veganism, not Rasta, extremism, not Rasta, ism, not Rasta, period. So, all the deceptions Babylon throws, you can find them here, getting dismantled and broken into pieces. Because we ain't playing that shit over here. You're my brother if you're my brother, whether you eat meat or you don't. As long as you ain't pushing and brainwashing people into a diet. See, I'm not all about the all carnivore diet either. People who don't eat vegetables or anything from a plant and all they eat is meat. They don't even drink milk or nothing. They just eat meat. I think that's extreme. That's just, there's no way that can be totally healthy either. So, why is what we eat become this? You know what I'm saying? Like this drama fest. Like, it should be more revolved around whether you eat organic and non-GMO and old world style agriculture versus this roboticized new agriculture, see, and genetically engineered and, you know, synthetic fertilizer, synthetic pesticide, and as far as the animals go, you know, locked in a box all fucking day, shitting and eating, fattening them up. Genetically modified animals is already on the horizon, and for people who think Trump is a hero, you evidently missed like 40,000 things Trump did that were obviously pro-New World Order agenda. One being the promotion and signing off on genetically modified cattle, well, or livestock, you know, agricultural livestock. As well as he passed through the vaccine, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's to be my next video. For those out there who think Trump is the answer, now I'm not saying left wing is the answer. I'm not saying right wing is the answer. I'm saying neither of them are the answer. And the more we participate in this dialectic, the more power it has, and the more division grows. Okay, when we could all simply come to the truth that there is an objective, middle of the road, balanced reality that we can all enjoy. If I were ever going to vote on a president, it would be somebody like Ron Paul, and I wouldn't say that I agreed with everything Ron Paul ever said, but if I was actually going to vote and I believed that voting made a difference, that would be my candidate. Not his son, Rand Paul, but the real Ron Paul. And I don't trust him as much as I could throw him. So I'm not saying that he's the answer either, or somebody like him. I don't trust any of them. It's been rigged for too long. It's been a sideshow for too long. It's been a Hollywood act. I mean, Ronald Reagan was president. He was a fucking actor. I mean, fuck. Like, that's just ridiculous. Actors shouldn't be allowed to be presidents, as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty obvious why. Or, you know, Rastas have historically said not to trust politicians. Historically, we have been the ones that have clearly exposed and called out the left-wing, right-wing dialectic and said no to politicians, period. We ain't playing either of their games on either side. And this veganism shit is part of that dialectic. It's on the left side, okay? And then the right side is to continue on with big agriculture and cows in cages and all, you know, all the things. When there is a middle of the road, natural, real solution, which is the way we used to raise animals. Homestead mixed farms, some bigger than others, for buying, selling, and trading produce, animal products, etc. Medicines, agricultural medicines like cannabis, opium, or whatever herb, you know, echinacea, whatever. So they're using this dialectic to basically do lots of different things, but one thing they want to do is to make sure that the middle of the road discussion doesn't happen, like we've talked about here today, which is the old Ethiopic Tartary way. We were an agricultural people, and it's the way of Yasharal, the children of Israel, right? They were an agricultural people, both plant and animal agriculture. The most successful produce farms that are homesteads are mixed farms. Mixed farm means they might raise some cattle and some goats and some chickens and some ducks, but they're growing a lot of crops too. And the bacteria in those animal dukes is like one of the number one necessary things for living healthy soil. Okay? If you want to talk about the natural way, I'm not talking about buying a bottle of a bacterial inoculant that was vegan friendly. That's not natural. Okay? That it didn't happen naturally occurring. It's not self-sufficient. You have to buy it. When you have a homestead, you want to minimize as many inputs that you have to buy externally as possible. Use the shit. Fuck. You see what I'm saying? So, I used to get real excited about this discussion and get rowdy, but it's just getting old. And I've already proven it 100 times why this is just, the whole concept is garbage. Veganism, and forcing people to be vegan and telling people that they're of bad character because they ain't vegan. It's not Rasta, it's not sound-minded. Apart from Rasta or any of that, it's just not sound-minded. If you know about the New World Order, you can clearly see that they're pushing that too. So it doesn't jive with people who have any idea of what's going on in our world today. It has the cult thing connected to it, where cults take away your meat and dairy first. It's the first thing they do, and they give you sugar, fruit. And rice. And fruit and rice and all that's great. But you can't just eat fucking sugar. You'll kill yourself. Even if it's fruit. You know, you're not eating cane sugar, but you're eating nothing but sugar through fruit. That ain't gonna be good for you either. This ain't the fucking garden, y'all. Quit pretending like it is. Okay? The dragon rules this realm right now, and his time of rule is almost over. 400 years is almost up. Now, if that demon that possessed my wife, my ex-wife, Illuminati wife, if that demon said it had been roaming the earth, I'm pretty sure it might have been 475, but now I think it's 375. I have to get the hospital report in my emails and read it so I can make double sure. But that demon said 375 years it had been walking the earth, and it's got to be in this whore's body. Like, as in, he's been walking the earth for that long. I got to be in this fucking thing's body? Like, oh, this is a fucking dirty whore. I can't believe I got to do this. $375. If that was 4 years ago, right? That demon said that through her mouth with his voice. 375 years. We're almost to 400 years since the dragon was loosed. And that's the other thing. This dude down here, this esoteric 33 boy over here, 1976. If you were aware of the dragon's loosening, you would understand that you're wasting your time with this vegan shit. There is a lot bigger stuff going on that's connected to that, taking our animals away, but it ain't about going with veganism. Stand against the dragon, not with the dragon. Okay? Show me Haile Selassie's quote that says, "Do not eat meat ever." Nah, he didn't say that. He said it is good to make scant use of meat. Why? Because it's the most nutritious food, and it's a living creature. Be thankful for it. It is counted in the scriptures as something that means you are wealthy and you can take care of a lot of people. Abraham was very wealthy, and several other patriarchs and important figures in the scriptures had lots of flocks of animals for meat and for curds and whey and milk. We don't drink horse milk. We don't drink penguin milk. You see what I'm saying? We drink those milks. Sheep, goat, cow. Okay? We have for 6,000 years. Butter is the best fat in the world for you, bar none. Better than avocado, better than coconut oil. Coconut oil and avocado is good, but it isn't better than butter. If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose butter. Butter is better. I'm not talking about fake butter made out of soybeans, margarine. I'm talking about real butter. Can you get any more natural than colostrum and whey and a lot of things that people don't realize? If they get an upset tummy when they drink milk, try A2 milk. It's a different strain of heirloom cattle that produce a milk that has a certain protein difference that you can handle. And I believe that most of the cattle used to be A2 cows, and that this dairy allergy has come through the A1 cows. The A2 cows are heirloom. Old world. See what I'm saying? Cash me outside. How about that? RASTAFARI. The truth will prevail, and nothing but the truth. The absolute, objective, factual reality will prevail. And all these games and psyops and extremisms, schisms will be dismantled and come to naught. Y'all be blessed.